Welcome to those who are logging in. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to kind of find the event and find the live stream. Make sure to post a comment. I believe we have some giveaways we're giving away tonight. Okay. I want to thank everyone who has been so, I can't even think the word. I'm still on the mend from last week. I was very sick. There's a lot going around right now. And then being a teacher, and I see every student in the school, so I caught something or two. But we are here tonight. Trying to see, I can't see the comments. There they are. Okay. Oh, I see a Cincinnati. That one stands out to me. I'm in Fairfield, so not too far. I'm still a little nasally. You might be able to kind of hear it in my voice. I still have that stuffy nose. It just doesn't want to go away. But, yeah, we're going to get started. So those who are on tonight and have not seen any of my lives, you can see that there are two cameras set up. The one that I'm on is my laptop, and that's over by my sewing machine. And then I have another camera that looks down at my workspace where most of this live will take place. There's minimal sewing with this, which is really, really nice. So, so if you leave a comment and I'm over at the other side, I won't see it. I do have the lovely Dawn. She will be kind of checking in and answering any questions that you might have. And of course, I will go back through them at the end of the live. And when I come to sit down to sew, I'll take a quick look too. So without further ado, we've given everybody about 3 minutes. So I'm going to go over and just kind of start talking about it and sharing with some of the supplies you need for it. And so yeah, let's get started. I'm going to minimize my window so it's not so much of me, just a little bit smaller. All right. All right, so for tonight, you've already seen in the images, we are making these floral picks. And of course, they're made out of fabric. So some fabric floral picks. And what I love about these is that, yes, these are hearts and Valentine's is just, 2 days away. And it might be, oh, I can't get them done in time, but they're really fast. And honestly, the whole month of February is for hearts, really. But not only that, you can make them in any fabric you want. I made some green ones. How cute would these be for the month of March? And then you could even think of 4th of July or Easter colors. I mean, year round, it's possible. And not only is there hearts, but I did design up an Easter egg shape and a star. And I'll share those with you. And they are on the pattern packet that you can download from ThermOWeb's website. So, without further ado, we'll get started. These are some of the extras, and then, of course, it's kind of hard to see because it's a three-dimensional piece of art here. We have our lovely fabric picks with our, to be honest, this is all dollar store fake flowers, and it looks pretty good. Very nice. So, we will get started. So for this, for a very basic one, you need just a couple of things. You need fabric, of course. And the fabric I'm using tonight is from Riley Blake. It is adorable. I love the teal color with the pinks and the reds. I've used several of these in the ones you've seen in the images and what I just showed you. Tonight I am using these hearts, and I chose a directional fabric because a non-directional is pretty, you know, just do it however you want. Directional, just wanted to share with you how the best way to do directional. So this is, I honestly don't remember now. I had all the information in my head and then I got sick and I'm still recovering. So we're going to I'm going to show you the measurements right here on the screen for this. It is about 5 inches and it goes about 11 inches. So about 5 by 11 is the size of your fabric. And typically when I make things, my interfacings that I use, I always do just slightly smaller. And that would be the same for this project, which I have this is at 5 inches as well. So it is about the same size by 11. So it's going to be just about right, but you can do a little smaller. It really does not play that much into for this project. You will need to go to ThermOWeb's blog and print off the pattern, which I usually have a big sheet. I do not have that today because I'd already cut them out, but it would have these 3 lovely shapes for you that you can cut out and use. I said I made an egg shape and a star and of course our heart. And of course you can always make your own patterns. And I wanted to point this out, that if you do make your own patterns, to keep in mind that when we stuff these, they're going to, these edges here are going to get closer together. So you can see this is very far apart heart. It doesn't look like that once it's stuffed. It comes closer together. So if you create any other shapes, or maybe smaller or larger, to keep in mind this angle. And of course, always make a practice one before you use your really good and pretty fabrics that you've picked out. So what we need to do first is, what I'm using this is actually a woven fusible. So it's got like a texture side fusible interfacing. For this project, it really does not matter whether you use woven or they have an unwoven or a non-woven, excuse me. Let me see if I can find the non-woven over here in my little stash. I don't have it, but it would look something like this. So a non-woven looks like this, and you can put it on your fabric however you want. That means you don't have to follow the grain of your fabric. I wanted to use a woven. I had some on hand. And what that means, as you can see, there is a grain line. So you can see the weave in this interfacing, in this fusible interfacing. And you would want this to line up with your fabric. So when you would do it, you would want to line up the grains. So this isn't one where I could like put it like this. It just wouldn't, that's not how this type works. But if you use a non-woven, you can put it however you want. So we are going to give this a little press and get that crease out. And we're going to adhere our interfacing. And of course, it is one-sided. There's only one side that has the fusible, and you can tell by the feel of it. You really can't see it in the camera. I'm going to fuse it. And then this is, when you buy the woven, it comes by the yard, and it would come with the sheet like this. The non-woven, they come in fun little packs. They also come by the yard as well. I like to give it a good press on this side, and I always like to press it this side too. And I just love this fabric. I don't know what it is, anything that just has like a lot of repetition. Like this just is, I'm drawn to it. I see, not only do I see hearts, I see triangles. I see lots of triangles. I've always loved things with a lot of repetition. Okay. And once you have it fused, the next step is to trace your pattern. Now we're going to be sewing this on the outside and having a raw edge. So we're going to fold it in half to keep it together. And because this is directional, you would want to put it this way. If you didn't have directional fabric, you could put it this way. But the sizing I gave you with the pattern I have, it works either way. So we are going to grab a pencil. I am fresh out of the heat erasing one, so we're going to use a pencil to trace. Okay. You might not be able to see it on screen, but I can see my pencil lines, which is important because we are going to just sew directly on those pencil lines. I'm going to grab a pen so that I can keep them together. And this is where I'm going to go take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch. I'm going to start down here at the bottom. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom. I need to leave just the smallest, slightest opening for the skewer to get in there. So I'm going to start just like 1/8 of an inch from the bottom point, and I'm going to sew all the way around, and I'm going to stop right about here, and then I'm going to leave a gap, sew from here to about 1/8 of an inch before that bottom point. So we're leaving the bottom point open, and that's going to be for our skewer, and then we need to leave a good little amount here open so that we can stuff it with our fiber fill. So right now I'm going to go over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew with just a simple straight stitch, and I'll be right back. All right, I kind of looked at the chat, and yeah, I think a lot of people are getting some snow. It is all rain here. Although we did have potential for ice this morning. Did anybody have a phone do an update and then their email looked funny? Because mine sure did. And then I didn't get the email saying my school had a delay today, so I went to school and nobody was there. I got a lot done though. I had 2 hours of prep time to do some planning. All right, so I just snipped the little extra string right there, and as you can see, I have it stitched all the way around. I left a teeny tiny opening at the bottom and just enough over here that I can stuff it with the fiber fill. And because we're going to have a raw edge, I am using some pinking shears. That's just one method. You can do a straight cut and kind of fray it up if you'd like. And this is like one of those decorations that I'm one of those decorating people who I like to have things that are simple. I think I mentioned in like another live, I used to have Christmas like ornaments that were all different colors, and I just like switched them out each season in this big bowl. So I'd have red, white, and blue Christmas bulbs, and then I'd have like wintry blues and silvers, and that's all I would change. And this is my kind of decoration where I would just change the floral picks, and it would make everything just ready for the season. Okay. And then there it is. And this part isn't really going to be seen. We're going to cover this with some fun decor. So at this point, we now need to stuff it. I'm actually going to trim. I got a few little extra things there. So we're going to stuff it with some fiber filling. I couldn't tell you how much. Just a good amount. And there's just big enough hole to get your finger in there and stuff it filled. There may be some background noise. It's bedtime here, so my kids are getting ready for bed. Because you may have heard earlier, I'm in Eastern time, so it is after 8:30. All right, so I still can put a little more in there, not too much more. When I was making these, I even added into one of them, I added lavender. I have it sitting right here. I added lavender. And it made it smell like, you had to be really close and you had to smell it. But that is another option too. You can add dried things, and if that goes away, you can add, I think you could probably just put some drops of essential oil on it and give it a little bit of a scent. All right, so I'm going to push, so I got to be able to stitch this shut. So I'm going to like really push this over, and then I'll like work it back over there into that spot, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it over to my machine and I'm going to stretch this, and I'm going to stitch from here to here and to close this up, and then I'll push all this filling back over. It'll just be easier if it's really pushed over for the sewing machine's sake. So I'm going to go back over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch from here to here, my opening. Okay, so we're just going to snip little extra pieces of, and then like I said, I'm going to kind of work that back over. Maybe now that I've got the stuff in there, I can kind of see how my edges look, and I trim any of those if I don't like them, or if they're just a little too big. And you have yourself like a little heart pillow. But now we're going to, you can do several different things. Before we add the stick, I have done glitter dust spray on these before, and an example of that would be this green one. You can see the sparkle. So you can spray glitter dust spray. These don't go through the wash, so this is a great option For this, they have iridescent, they have gold and silver. Add some really pretty sparkle. You can do this, would probably been better before sewing it, but they've got a new product. It's called Sparkle Paste. This is what I did on this one. I used a little paintbrush and I added some sparkle paste. And it's probably best to do it before you stuff it. And I say that because you do have to heat set the sparkle paste with your iron and some pressing paper. So that's another option for adding some extra flair to your little sticks. On this one, I had some leftover pom-poms from my last live. And I think I'm going to put one on this one. I'll just show you how I stick it up there. But then I also added a tiny little yo-yo in the little corner. Very cute. And these last couple, again, another pom-pom with some jute string and a bow and another bow. So the ideas are endless for adding all your little embellishments. You could probably make yourself an entire bouquet of just these and not even have to add any flowers. Okay. I'm not going to spray it or anything. I might spray it at the very end because I think I do want some sparkles on this. All right, I believe, so what we're going to do now is you're going to need some skewers. These ones are a little bit thicker than like the dollar store ones, but dollar store ones would work just fine. They're just slightly larger, and only reason I know that is because I did a project recently with some of my students, and I had to try to fit beads on them, and the beads do not fit on these ones. So they're just slightly bigger than the dollar store ones. And I think I'm going to add a pom-pom. I've got an extra pom-pom. We're going to add that to it, and then we'll do glitter. So what we need to do is we need to put the skewer up inside, and that is where we left that hole. Now, before we get to that, I'm going to share with you what we're going to use. We're going to use Fabric Fuse. It's a quick bond fabric adhesive, and it works really well. And we want to make sure we're not putting the pointy end in. The pointy end in could potentially risk, if it gets bumped, it could potentially risk poking through your fabric, but then also we won't have that little extra point to try to get it down into your vase. So if you don't want any pointy ends sticking out, I suggest you getting some nice sharp scissors or a knife, and you can cut that off. So we are going to find, I don't know if you can see that on camera, that tiny little hole there. We're going to work our skewer up in there. If you didn't make a hole, just grab a seam ripper, make one. And I kind of wiggle it up in there so it's nice up in there, pretty good. And then, now that I know I've got a spot for it all up inside the fiber fill, I will pull it almost all the way out because I want to add the fabric fuse to the stick, because what's going to happen, it's going to go up inside and it's going to fuse and glue to all that fiber fill. So we're going to add, and it's not wanting to glue. Just like with any glue, sometimes it gets just needs a little pinprick, and you can then get the glue out. There it is. Okay, so I'm gonna twist it up, going up in there, make sure it gets, and it automatically, by putting it up in there, it's going to be on the end of your fabric here, where you can then kind of hold it in place for a minute. It's not an instant dry, so it will take some time to dry, but it will get sticky and hold its place. And of course, the pom-pom, I'm just going to use the pointed end of the skewer and push it up like that. And now you have yourself a fabric floral pick, or my daughter saw them and she thought it was a wand. So I think I need to make her a wand now. So for that, I would cut the point off. I am going to use some of that glitter dust spray. So I'm going to grab some supplies right here so I can protect my work area. I got a really big poster board. We're going to use that. And we're going to spray some glitter. All right, for this, I think, so I've got iridescent and gold sitting right next to me. Somewhere I have a silver, but I think I'm gonna go with the iridescent because I just think the gold wouldn't be right for this one. So we'll give it a good shake and spray, and so yeah. You have to let it dry, and then it kind of has like a little haze to it as it dries, and then that just kind of goes away. We're gonna flip it. And there. So as it dries, I'm not sure how much you can see, especially with that white background now. But I will put it on a piece of this kind of paper. And that's it. I'm going to go back over to the computer and see what kind of comments we have. Make sure you have put something in the comments because we are drawing not just one, but 2 gift cards for ThermOWeb Online in celebration of Valentine's Day this Friday. So if you haven't already left a comment, make sure you do that. We have another live coming up at the end of the month with Lisa Rubel. So that's, I believe, in about 2 weeks. So make sure to check back and see what she's going to be demonstrating. And yeah, so I'm going to go back over to the computer and I'll leave the chat open and everything for a minute. But that was that, and it's so quick. I mean, even though Valentine's Day is only 2 days away, really just one full day, you could knock some of these out real quick. Oh, bunny ears. That is adorable. That is a great idea. I love that. And yeah, writing on the fabric. That would be really neat too. Oh, there's so many good ideas. This is why we have community. We come up with these ideas together. It's so great. And then, yes, styrofoam at the bottom. Yes, that's making sure that point is down, and it would definitely go in that styrofoam. So much easier. All right, our winners are Marianne Patton and Catherine Walsh. Congratulations. I will keep the chat open for another minute or so. If anybody has any more questions or comments, go ahead. Thank you all again for joining me tonight and for waiting it out a week to help me heal and get better. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And if you need to replay this, you can find the replay here on the Facebook group, but it will also, I'll be uploading it to ThermOWeb's YouTube channel, and you can check it out there anytime. It might be easier to find than on the Facebook, the Facebook feed. Things can kind of get lost on there. So it will be uploaded to their YouTube channel by tomorrow. All right, I'm getting ready to end the live video. Thank you all again for joining me tonight, and I hope you all are feeling good and not sick and are safe in these storm and snow that's happening in different places in the U.S. and around and everywhere. And have a happy Valentine's Day. Have a good night, everyone.